Let's check out all of the different bookshelf storage options IKEA has to offer. Hey y'all, I'm Elisa, the Scrappy Wife behind ScrappyWife.com. Today, let's check out some shelving options at IKEA. Here's the thing. I have some pretty strong opinions about some of the options here at IKEA, so we're going to go check them out. I'm going to share with you what I think, and I'm sure you guys will be able to share what you think down below. Let's see what they have to offer to get your craft space organized. Okay, so here's the thing. I do have some pretty strong opinions on shelving options, especially at IKEA. However, every single craft space is different. Every single crafter is different. So it's important to take the time to think of what type of storage options are going to work for your type of crafting. If you work with fabric and yarn, your storage possibilities are going to be different than myself as a paper crafter and someone that dabbles in a few different hobbies. So taking time to figure out what works for your situation. We also all have different size spaces. So something that works in my larger basement might not work in a dining room, in a bedroom, in a multifunctional space for you. So take that into account as you are figuring out what is going to work best for you. For me, the key is always having pieces that have flexibility. Pieces that can evolve with you and your creativity are really going to be great investments to use in your craft room over a long period of time. Today, we're going to look in the living room storage section at 3 different big systems, starting with the Billy Bookcase system. You guys, it says that every 5 seconds a Billy Bookcase is sold. That is crazy, except that this is my favorite system. I love the Billy Bookcase system. I find it to be very affordable, $69 for a full-on tall bookcase. So great. I love that the shelves are adjustable. It comes in different finishes. You have the white finish, a wood tone, and then this dark kind of walnut finish. There are different sizes. They have kind of the standard bookcase. They have the skinny one. They even have one that comes in this blue-green color, which I think is so beautiful and dreamy. They have short ones. They have lots of different configurations available for the Billy Bookcase. I also appreciate that there are different door styles for the Billy Bookcase and that you can add on as you go. You don't have to buy everything at one time. This is a system that you can build on. So if you are working on a budget, you can start out with 1 or 2 bookcases, add the doors later on. I used to use these shorter shelves when I was a music teacher in elementary school. They worked fabulous for having space that the kids could get to their instruments and things like that. This, though, is a new thing that I had not seen before, a drawer that just fits on the bottom of a Billy Bookcase. That is genius. I love that they come out with some new accessories. I love that there are different configurations that you can use, and I love that you can mix and match the pieces to create a whole wall of bookshelves to really maximize your space. Some downsides of the Billy Bookcase system would be that they are not as deep as other shelf options here at IKEA. So if you are a 12 by 12 paper crafter or you have larger things to store, they might hang out the front of your bookshelf, which means you would not be able to use the door options if you're storing your paper here. So that's something to consider. Also, I have heard that people have had sagging shelves over time. That has never been an issue for me, and I have had a ton of things, heavy things stored on my shelves, but I have heard that that's been an issue for others. You can see there are a great number of different door options, including some that I hadn't seen before. I prefer glass because I like to see what is in my bookshelves. I love having doors on my Billy bookcases that I have in my current craft room because it protects my supplies from getting dusty. So that is fantastic. However, for many, many years, I had Billy bookcases without any doors and they functioned just fine. Look at the one with the rattan. That is new and cool. I like that they are continuing to evolve and come up with different design options. These were new to me. This is a glass door that has different choices. You have panels that are in the back. So see how someone featured their kids' art? Like it already has the mat in there so you can easily add to it. I thought that was so creative and such a cool idea. They have it in white and in black. So if you have a multifunctional space and you're trying to create a display section, I think that is so cool. And look, one full-size door, really, really neat idea. Now, there are some options that look like the Billy Bookcase system, but are a little bit different. They tend to be a little bit cheaper, perhaps not quite as sturdy as some of the Billy Bookcases, but if you are on a budget, these might be some good options. And oftentimes these bookcases that were a little bit less expensive were also a little smaller in scale, either a little bit more shallow or just shorter, which can work in different size spaces. So keep that in mind. I mean, $24.99 for this shelf, fantastic. If you are building an office on a budget, there are some great options, even if you're not ready to invest in a full Billy Bookcase system. All right, so next up is the system that I have the most opinions on, and that would be the Kallax system. Hear me out. I can see how the Kallax system is tempting. It's very seemingly organized with all of the cubes. It looks really aesthetically pleasing. My biggest issue with the Kallax system is that these larger bins that fit in these large cubes, these large squares, it is so easy to just have those bins turn into a dumping ground and to keep just all kinds of stuff that gets really unorganized. I like shelving to be adjustable, to adjust to the size, height, all of the measurements that I need in my craft room. However, IKEA continues to come out with new inserts that are very functional that you can pick up and use to create a system, a Kallax system that is truly unique and truly customized to your needs. They have all kinds of doors, drawers, dividers, pretty much anything you can ask for, you can kind of put together inside this Kallax unit. That really, really ups the functionality, which is absolutely fantastic. I will say that each of these inserts is going to cost extra. So the price of putting together one of these systems in a really custom way starts to escalate really fast. So each insert is anywhere from $10 to $30. So if you are filling a 4x4 cube with all of these inserts, it's going to add up very, very fast. Some pros of this system: it does fit 12 by 12 paper. That is fantastic. So you can store your 12 by 12 paper in this system and it's not going to hang off the front edge, which is so great. Just like the Billy Bookcase system, you can build over time, meaning you can start with your large square, your 5 by 5, or even a 2 by 2, and start to build your inserts over time. So you don't have to purchase everything all at once. I did really like that they now had these kind of riser situations that you could lift up the Kallax system, which I think makes it look more like a piece of furniture. The drawers tend to not come out very far and be a little bit shallow as far as what they can hold. I think it kind of reduces the amount of space you have to organize. I just tend to prefer bookshelves, but that's my preference. I know a lot of people that love the Kallax system. The Besta system, I think, is one of the more kind of upscale feeling systems of storage that you can get at IKEA. This is actually the system that I have for my TV unit in my living room. There are all kinds of different storage frame shapes. There's a tall one, there's one that's a cube shape, a skinny one. Anyway, you can pick out and design how the bases are going to look, how they're going to stack with each other, and then you can pick drawers, you can pick doors. There are so many different styles of drawer fronts and how everything functions within the system. You can make a very upscale looking piece with the Besta system, which is different than the other two. I think Billy and Kallax definitely just have that IKEA look. However, I think the Besta system, you can kind of raise the bar, if you will. That makes this system pretty ideal if your craft supplies, if your crafting area also happens to be in a more high traffic area of the house. So, for instance, if you have all of your crafting supplies stored in the living room and you don't want it to look like a craft room, you want it to look like a living room, designing some storage out of these pieces would be really nice because it would just look like an absolutely beautiful entertainment center, not necessarily like you'd pulled a Kallax unit from a craft room up to your living room. I think that is why this is an appealing system for so many people because it's almost like disguising what is behind those doors. Just like the other systems you can build over time, here are some of the frames that you would start with. I would certainly begin with purchasing the frames and any shelves that you plan to have within your system. Then you can start to upgrade with doors and drawers and things like that as you kind of complete your system. All three of these, Kallax and Billy and Besta, have been at IKEA for a long time. So I'm not really nervous that they will just disappear. I think you'll be able to continue building on these systems over time. Again, makes it ideal as you kind of outfit a space when oftentimes our craft studios, our craft rooms are some of the last spaces we get to focus on in setting up our house. Love the push open drawers. I think those are often awesome. These drawers also are rather deep, which depending on the type of crafting you like to do, could be ideal. I prefer shallow drawers in most of my storage because for a paper crafter, most of my little bits and pieces are much smaller and they tend to get lost in the large bins and Kallax or super deep drawers. Something else that is pretty cool about the Besta system is that you can use online design tools from IKEA to set up and plan what your system is going to look like. So if you are filling a craft room, if you're designing a wall in your dining room, you can go online, pick the bits and pieces, pick the doors, kind of figure out the layout that you want so that you can go to IKEA armed with a list of what you are wanting to pick up. This is another good time to remind you, definitely check online before you head out to IKEA. If you are planning to shop in person and make your list, you can see if things are in stock or out of stock. It would kind of stink to drive 3 hours to an IKEA just to find out that your favorite shelving unit is out of stock. You can also order through click and collect, which means you can purchase your items in advance and then drive up and pick them up on a particular day. All right, there are definitely some other shelving options that are not part of a larger system. They all have a different appeal to them, whether you prefer a metal mesh looking shelf, whether you want something that has a few more homey details. You can find lots of different options in a variety of price ranges. Again, I would suggest bringing measurements with you, super important, and kind of determining what your aesthetic is in advance. For instance, I love glass, so these would be absolutely appealing to me to store some of my craft supplies in. But if I had small children running around, that would be less appealing because there would be either broken glass or fingerprints all over the place. So kind of pick and choose. I think those would be so beautiful to store fabric in. Personally, I can't imagine something prettier than one of these glass cabinets packed to the brim with colorful fabric. So gorgeous and so inspiring. Again, bring your tape measure with you. They do have some paper tape measures at IKEA, but I just like to have one with me. You're going to want to check the depth of different bookcases. If having enough room for 12 by 12 paper is a high priority for you, you need to double check because many of these bookcases do not go that deep, and so your paper would hang out over the edge. They also have lots of different systems that have both drawers and doors. Again, pick one that works for you. They're all beautiful. They all have different pros and cons, and it's fun to just look around and kind of imagine how you would design your dream space. All right, so let me know below what system would work best for you. Are you a Billy Bookcase person? Are you a Kallax person? Or are you a Besta person? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Consider hitting that subscribe button as well as the bell notification button. I do want to give a huge shout out to all of my Patreon members. We have a fabulous time over on Patreon. There is a ton of bonus content and exclusive content, and we would love to have you join us over there. You can click the link down below to start your 7-day free trial today. All right, I hope that you have a fabulous day. And as always, keep it creative.